thousands of protests involving so many millions of Americans. Now I think it's time to start having a national conversation of a different type, right? The strategy and the character of the opposition to Trump is not only self-evident as the most important story in the country, I think it's finally being recognized as the most important story in the country, which is nice. And, you know, you have the president clearly just fundamentally politically unable to contend with the depth and breadth of feeling against him, right? So these must be paid protesters or invaders from somewhere else, or they must all be violent criminals or whatever. No, actually, this is St. Louis, right? This is America. No kings, yes, queens, right? Like that. This is just us. It's who we are, and this is how we feel about you.
Conflict is escalating in the Middle East. There is unrest at home, and our president is on tilt as he loses his mind that world leaders at the G7 don't like him, and his birthday party was a complete flop. Donald Trump is losing his mind and making it the entire world's problem. And we saw that last night as Donald Trump returned to the White House on Air Force One and was confronted not only over the conflict in the Middle East, his fleeing of the G7, but some insane posts he made. And when he was confronted specifically by Caitlin Collins, he attacked and threatened her. We're going to check it all out. But first, I want to start with the insane string of posts we are seeing from Trump right now. Over the past 7 hours, Donald Trump has made a number of insane posts, starting with, "I have not reached out to Iran for peace talks in any way, shape, or form." This is just more highly fabricated fake news. If they want to talk, they know how to reach me. They should have taken the deal that was on the table, would have saved a lot of lives. Trump also added this morning, "We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran and good sky trackers and other defense equipment, and plenty of it. But it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA." Donald Trump followed that up with, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, at least for now, but we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Then writing unconditional surrender, every scree or bleat or nonsense post is causing unrest and chaos. Yet Donald Trump doesn't care because he is still upset that Mark Carney doesn't like him and that no one came to his birthday party, and now he's just freaking out and he's attempting to do the one thing that he promised on the campaign trail and is actually trying to fulfill, which is be a dictator on day one, which is exactly why we saw the Senate move last night with Senator Tim Kaine, making sure Donald Trump cannot defy the Constitution, bring us into a war. And I want to hear from him before we see how Trump attacked Caitlin Collins, because this is very important.
In states, when I got elected to the Senate in 2012, I told myself that if I ever had the chance to stop an unnecessary war of the kind we were living through then, I would do everything possible to do that, and that's why I filed this resolution.
But I got to follow up. I mean, you even just said yourself that this problem has a precedent, the need for congressional approval being run over. So why and how would this be different with this bill, especially with this president?
So here's what I know, Mika. I filed a similar bill after President Trump took the strike that killed Soleimani back in 2019 or early 2020. And I basically said the U.S. should not be at war with Iran. And two Republican houses, a Republican Senate and a Democratic House, backed me up on that. We passed that resolution. It went to the president's desk. He vetoed it. And we couldn't override the veto. But we noticed something interesting. President Trump dialed back the aggressive actions toward Iran, because he saw that both bodies, including significant numbers of Republicans, were telling him our constituents don't want a war. In some ways, I view this resolution as reminding Donald Trump what he has said since 2016, which is the U.S. should not be in endless wars in the Middle East. And you can tell the wording coming from President Trump and his advisors is somewhat mixed messages. Some want to go all in against Iran. Some are reminding him that he ran against endless wars in the Middle East. I hope this resolution will send a message to him, to Israel, and to Iran that the U.S. does not want to be at war with Iran. If they attack the U.S., we'll defend ourselves. If they attack U.S. troops, U.S. consuls, we'll defend ourselves. But what we don't want is a war with Iran right now, and I hope and expect that a majority of my colleagues believe that.
I think even Trump understands that his Republican supporters, who have been very loud, do not want to see us get into another war. I think it's the reason why we see so much anger from Donald Trump, because he knows every decision he has made has completely backfired, and it's the reason he responded so angrily to Caitlin Collins and basically threatened her. Just take a look.
You just posted right before we took off that you're not leaving because of a ceasefire. Why are you? Can you elaborate?
We're looking at better than a ceasefire. We're not looking for a ceasefire. I didn't say I was looking for a ceasefire. That was Emmanuel, nice guy, but he doesn't get it right too often. But we're not looking. We're looking for better than a ceasefire.
That's just what you're looking to get into this more. You're not going to involve the U.S. in this conflict at this stage. Are you going to do anything more for Israel right now?
Pretty well. Right now, we're doing pretty well. Remember, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. We don't have to go too deep into it. They just can't have a nuclear weapon.
What was the thinking on the call for Tehran to evacuate? Is there a threat or is there incoming? What was the thinking on the full evacuation?
I want people to be safe. And that's always possible. A thing like that could happen. I just want people to be safe.
Is there any new concern about U.S. troops or assets in the region at all today?
Great people, they know how to protect themselves.
And when you say better, what's
we'll come down so hard if they do anything to our people. We'll come down so hard, then the gloves are off so beautifully. Now, I think they know not to touch our troops.
Are you sending the vice?
Yeah, we're not troops.
When you say
Do you plan to send the vice president and Steve Witkoff? There's reports that you want to send the vice president and Steve Witkoff to meet with the Iranians and have discussions. Is that something you're considering?
Not sure yet. I may. Depends on what happens when I get back.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
An end. A real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that would be permanent?
Yeah. Or giving up entirely. That's okay too.
Are you close there? Is that possible in the next 24
Why not? Certainly possible. Complete give up. That's possible, yeah.
Did you hear what Trump said at the end? Was he just like insinuating a threat at Caitlin Collins? He had just gotten upset and called CNN fake news, but he was basically suggesting that she wasn't safe. What does take a look at, you mean in the context of whether war is coming? Like, what is he even doing? He is very clearly just upset and losing it. And we also saw that when he wasn't asked about war, but one of his trade wars, and oh my, or is this the biggest line of BS we have ever seen from Trump on the tariff front?
We did everything I had to do on the G7. We had a good G7. We signed the deal with the European Union, phase one of a deal, but we signed the deal with the UK. And the UK is really great. We're very far down the line with a lot of deals. I mean, look, we're actually finished with every deal if you really think about it, because all I have to do is say, this is what you're going to pay.
Did Secretary
But it's nice to be nice.
Did Secretary
We're wrapping up the deals. The deals are basically done. Actually, we finished the deals, but the deals are done, but they're not done. But I'm just such a nice guy, which is why the deals aren't done. But actually, the deals are done. He's losing. And he has nothing. There are no victories coming for Trump, only embarrassment as people continue to turn out in historic numbers to oppose him. Not just protesters, not just peaceful demonstrations, but Republicans as well, furious with Trump. It's the reason he's melting down. And Rachel Maddow broke some of that down. I want to take a look.
Thousands of protests involving so many millions of Americans. Now I think it's time to start having a national conversation of a different type, right? The strategy and the character of the opposition to Trump is not only self-evident as the most important story in the country, I think it's finally being recognized as the most important story in the country, which is nice. And, you know, you have the president clearly just fundamentally politically unable to contend with the depth and breadth of feeling against him, right? So these must be paid protesters or invaders from somewhere else, or they must all be violent criminals or whatever. No, actually, this is St. Louis, right? This is America. No kings, yes, queens, right? Like that. This is just us. It's who we are, and this is how we feel about you. I mean, this is Joplin, Missouri. This is Louisville, Kentucky, where thousands of people turned out. This is McHenry, Illinois. This is High Point, North Carolina. It is literally everywhere in this country, Americans in surprising numbers, in surprising places, turning out again and again and again and again to say, no, nope, we are not doing this. You are not taking over our country and turning us into a dictatorship. You are not going to be a king here. And so with all that proof in the pudding, right, with all of that evidence of where we are, it's now sort of time, if we haven't had it already, it is now time to really have a serious national conversation about where this all goes. Because this is not just like the resistance to Trump, right? Like this is the opposition to Trump. This is the other side. And if we're thinking about the two sides of this fight, well, politically, we're at a point where Trump, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but as a political figure, he looks sad and small, right? Nobody came to his $45 million military birthday party. He is a laughingstock on the world stage. He's being treated at the G7 right now like he's Putin's intern. The White House just announced tonight that Trump is coming home early from the G7 meeting tonight after so embarrassing himself there today. I mean, this is a president whose signature economic policy, his supposed tariff policy, is a punchline even among Republicans. I mean, someday, 30 years from now, the whole lecture hall full of Econ 101 students is going to laugh out loud when the professor gets out the chalk and writes taco on the chalkboard and has to explain what the acronym TACO meant in the Trump years. For his signature economic policy that he thought would work so well for him, both politically and economically. It is a punchline. I mean, this is a president who appointed a madman to be the nation's health secretary, and who in turn, he has just put like a QAnon conspiracy chat room in charge of the nation's vaccine schedule. This is a president who is selling coins and gold trinkets with his face on them from the White House. This is a president who can't persuade the first lady to live with him. This is a president whose supposed best friend says he should be impeached, and by the way, is in the Epstein files. I mean, this is a president whose approval ratings are more underwater than any other president ever at this point in his term. He has already rushed right to the part where he tries to turn the military against the civilian population, where he tries to turn the force of the American military against the American people. And that is something that neither the military nor the people have an appetite for, and he is going to learn that soon enough. He has rushed right to the end because he has no idea how to play cards against opposition to him that is this big, this sustainable, this broad, and this correct. He hasn't done anything as president that would win anyone over to his side. And the number of people who voted for him or supported him otherwise, who are now regretting it, grows by the day. And they don't just grow privately, they grow in the headlines every day. Everybody against him is getting stronger and more confident. Everybody with him is starting to get a little worried about how long they can stay with him as they see their numbers dwindle and they see him fail and flail over and over and over again. So for a would-be strong man, he's not strong. He is a remarkably weak and feckless political figure who is nevertheless trying to overthrow the American form of government while pushing incredibly unpopular policies and executing everything incredibly poorly with a laughingstock full of a terribly staffed administration and cabinet. I mean, who's in the Trump administration who you think like, skills, right? Or you think, popular. Or you think, growing political capital for this president by the day. Honestly. And on the other side, the opposition against him is big, deep, growing, confident, and increasingly unstoppable.
It just couldn't get much worse for Trump right now. This might be the new low point. Somehow we found a new low, at least for his popularity. Whatever mandate he claimed he ever had, it's all imploding. And that's why it is so scary that this madman might want to try to drag us into war to try to boost his approval rating. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's not do that one. It sounds a little terrifying. We cannot allow a dictator to make decisions about our country based on what makes him happy when it comes to our lives. So let's call that out. We're certainly going to be on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.